Welcome back, everyone. So, for the first time since I've been recording videos in the last, call it, year and a month, I finally had bad audio in one of them. So, this is now the second take of me recording this. Hopefully it goes better. So, with that out of the way, I just always got to celebrate the first of things, right? So, today's piece, this week's publication, is going to be around glass house brands and a bull case for it. So if you're interested in this article or other publications of mine, in the description to this video, there'll be a link to the Substack page. Come on over, engage, make comments, subscribe. You do you. Glass house brands, a bull case. This is a short write-up that requires you to have some understanding of glass house. If not, hopefully the sentiment resonates with you, but you might not fully appreciate the magnitude of the numbers. But perhaps it might spark enough curiosity for you to dig into things yourself. I'm going to do something that I rarely do: extrapolate linearly in an all else being equal fashion while using adjusted EBITDA. Savor this moment. It will be rare. However, it should provide a basic guiding template and modeling of matters in regards to the topic of glasshouse. The below image is a gist of today's piece. The glass is half empty, trading at 34 times the EV to EBITDA, or is the glass half full, 9 times the EV to EBITDA? Here are glass houses' last 5 quarters. The reason I started in Q3 2022 is because that was their first full quarter of registering Glasshouse 6 results on their financial statement, i.e., that's when things started really to matter. Using the TTM, trailing 12-month period, we have adjusted EBITDA of $17.4 million. At a $605 million EV, enterprise value, that puts it trading at a 34.7 times EV to adjusted EBITDA on a trailing 12-month basis. Ouch, that's expensive. But, Greenhouse 5 is coming online with first revenue expected by early Q2 2024. Greenhouse 5 is bringing on an additional 250,000 pounds of production. That's a 70% ramp up in production. According to management, Greenhouse 5 is estimated to increase production by 250,000 pounds for a total of 600,000 pounds. It's expected to provide $80 million of incremental revenue and $30 million of incremental EBITDA. I assume they mean adjusted EBITDA, since so many people use adjusted EBITDA, profit, and earnings interchangeably. Anyway, that's an increase of 172%. Yes, you read that right. An increase of production capacity to the tune of 70% results in an increase of adjusted EBITDA by 172%. Let's say that Greenhouse 5 won't be fully ramped up and dialed in until early 2025. This entails that you're buying Glass House at an EV to adjusted EBITDA of 12.8 times on 2025 figures. That's a much different picture than the earlier 34 some odd times multiple. Now, isn't it? But wait, there's more. 280E and increased margins. As of right now, Glass House is paying roughly $10 million in 280E. When Greenhouse 5, When Greenhouse 5 is brought online, they'll be paying roughly $15 million in 280E. Since I'm already being intellectually dishonest by using adjusted EBITDA, I'll take it a step further and pretend like the decrease in tax provisions would directly correlate to similar improvements in adjusted EBITDA. After all, I'm using adjusted EBITDA as a feeler for cash flow. You're now buying Glass House at a 2025 forward EV to adjusted EBITDA multiple of 9.7. So 280E reduces the multiple, or the removal of 280E reduces the multiple from 12.8 times to 9.7 times. Now, let's imagine that they can reduce the cost per pound of production to $113 a pound. Note that that is a $5 reduction from their Q3 2023 cost, or put differently, a reduction in cost of 4.23%, which means it's not the largest leap of faith. They're reducing costs by 4.23%. It's not like 20 or 50%. Back in Q3 of 2022, their first full quarterly results with Greenhouse 6, they managed to reduce their cost of production from $158 to $134 due to the scalability and efficiencies that their SoCal location has over their Casitas and Padoro farms. Greenhouse 5 will have improvements such as supplemental lighting to help normalize their Q1 low light season production. Not only does the lighting help with biomass pounds produced, but it also helps increase flour production, which has a higher margin. $5 of savings per pound multiplied by 600,000 pounds, which is their estimated forecast for when Greenhouse 5 comes online, is an additional $3 million in revenue. Q2 and Q3 saw adjusted EBITDA margins of 21 and 22%. I'll conservatively use 20%. This means that if they can reduce their costs of production by $5, remember, their goal is eventually to get to $100 per pound, then that's an additional $600,000 of adjusted EBITDA. So let's run the numbers again. You're now buying Glasshouse at a 2025 forward EV to adjusted EBITDA multiple of 9.6 times. Let's take it one step farther. If they can increase their average selling price by $10, put differently, a 3% increase, above their Q3 2023 price of $336, that would generate additional revenue to the tune of $6 million. At 20% adjusted EBITDA margins, that would equate to an additional $1.2 million in incremental adjusted EBITDA. You're now buying Glasshouse at a 2025 EV to adjusted EBITDA multiple of 9.42 times. There's a lot of maybes here. Some are more probable than others. Plus, my timeline is sketchy and probably underestimates or overestimates matters by a quarter or two. For instance, in their Q3 conference call, they're estimating a lower average selling price at around $260 and income tax payable, resulting in them having a negative cash flow quarter for Q4. However, that's a quarterly time frame, and I'm here talking to you today about a yearly time frame. Quite frankly, their numbers are all over the place, but what you do notice is that on a longer timeline, there's a clear directional trend. This is also a bull case argument, meaning that it's a unidimensional and constrained bias narrative. The reason I'm publishing this is because many of the bullish articles I read seemingly lack much integrity along the lines of numbers and arithmetic and focus predominantly on feel-good narrative. The rest of the greenhouses. I've not even mentioned the other greenhouses that they plan on bringing online in the future. They'll have them producing nearly 1.5 million pounds in total. Let's look at their timeline thus far. September 15th, 2021, Glasshouse acquired SoCal Farm. March 14th, 2022, licenses are acquired for operation. They commence cultivation. June 3rd, 2022, they complete the first harvest. March 1st, 2023, Glasshouse announces further expansion, and now most recently, as of last month, January 30th, 2024, Greenhouse 5 commences cultivation. Their second greenhouse now in production. I'll just call it a new greenhouse every 2 years. This is the problem with a sample size of 1. If you recall, they were going to bring Greenhouse 5 online earlier, but they didn't because of market conditions, which have, by the way, been improving, at least for them. If we act in an all else being equal fashion, imagine Greenhouse 4 will also provide an additional 30 million of adjusted EBITDA. In the below equation, I'll be adding an additional $5 million saved in 280E for all the narrative-driven political catalyst junkies and proselytizers. Personally, I don't pay any mind to 280E. You're now buying Glasshouse at a 2027 forward EV to adjusted EBITDA multiple of 6.1 times, and so on and so on. But I'll stop there. It's worth running this thought experiment, but it's getting a little out of hand. The farther out into the future you go, the less certainty you have and such. In conclusion, like I said, the point of this article was to show some math as to why Glasshouse might be a good bet. And this is the consequence of the seeming inability or ineptness of many others, not all, but many, to do basic arithmetic. Did I leave things out? Absolutely. This wasn't meant to be a comprehensive overview. Remember, I attempted something today that I rarely do, a brief overview. And I still couldn't get it under 1,200 words. I think at bare minimum, a narrative-driven speculator should at least be able to post hoc rationalize their investment. The vast majority can't. For them, it's feels over reals. If anything else, you can think of today's piece as just that, a post hoc rationalization from a biased perspective who's constraining the narrative to provide a flattering picture. And I'm doing it to subsidize the intellectually lethargic and personally incredulous. Maybe I should be a sell-side analyst. And that'll end it here today. Thank you for watching, and as I noted, if you want to read this or go look at my other work, then in the description box there will be a link to that work. Thank you for watching.